My wealthy brother-in-law told my little boy to aim higher than a filthy mechanic. So I revealed I owned his entire life, and it ruined absolutely everything. Back in 1924, I worked the blast furnaces deep in Pittsburgh. It was brutal, unforgiving labor, the kind that leaves permanent coal dust in your lungs and stains your hands a permanent black. My sister Eleanor married Charles. He was a high society investment banker who wore perfectly tailored silk suits, smoked imported cigars, and looked at me like I was a disease. At lavish Christmas parties, he would introduce me to his wealthy friends as Eleanor's brother, the laborer. Not a family man, just the laborer. He would smile, swirling his bourbon, and say, "It is a noble thing to work with one's hands, even if it leaves you with absolutely nothing to show for it." My wife would gently squeeze my arm every single time. She knew exactly how much it burned. But what Charles absolutely did not know was that I spent the last 8 years quietly investing every spare penny I earned into a small steel transport company. By 1928, that company secured massive railroad contracts across 3 states. I was officially a self-made millionaire. I still worked the furnaces because I loved the men I worked with. We never mentioned the money to Charles. His fragile upper-class pride simply could not handle it. Then, the devastating stock market crash of 1929 hit, the financial world collapsed, and Charles's bank was wiped out overnight. Eleanor came weeping to my porch in the freezing rain. She confessed they were losing their mansion. She begged me, completely terrified, not to let Charles find out she was asking a laborer for help. So I secretly contacted my lawyer. I set up an anonymous trust and quietly bought up all of Charles's toxic debt. For 3 grueling years, I secretly funded his lavish lifestyle, paying for the suits, the cigars, the arrogant illusion that he was still a king. He told everyone that a brilliant angel investor had recognized his genius. The breaking point came in the bitter winter of 1932. We were standing in his warm parlor. My 10-year-old son, William, was admiring an imported model train. Charles patted my boy on the head and said, "Study hard, William. If you apply yourself, you won't have to shovel dirty coal like your poor father. You can be a man of real consequence, someone who actually builds a legacy." William looked down, completely ashamed of me. I didn't yell. I just looked directly into Charles's eyes and calmly asked him one question. "Charles," I said softly, "have you ever looked at the signature on those blind trust checks that have kept you out of the poorhouse since 1929? He froze completely. The arrogant smirk painfully melted off his face. I pulled out the master financial ledger, stamped with my company's seal, and dropped it onto his Persian rug. I watched the horrific realization completely shatter his reality. I wanted him to hurt for what he said to my son, but the victory was deeply tragic. Charles's pride was his entire world. The crushing humiliation of surviving on a dirty laborer's charity absolutely broke his mind. He didn't say a single word. He walked out the front door into the freezing snow, and we never saw him again. He abandoned his massive debts, and most painfully his wife. Eleanor lost the house anyway. She never forgave me for exposing him. She died years later, completely heartbroken, blaming me for driving her husband away. I kept my pride, and I stood up for my son, but the truth cost me my sister and tore our family to pieces forever.